go.
We are Ohioans here in Toledo, Ohio, constituents representing all the Ohioans who want to have a talk with Senator Portman about what he did during the Senate acquittal and his strange understanding of what he did and why. We have some words for him. We want to hear what he has to say, and we have some things to say back to him.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I will talk to you about why I'm voting to acquit President Trump. On Wednesday, I will join a majority of my Senate colleagues in opposing the impeachment of President Trump brought by the House of Representatives.
Boo!
For 4 months since the release of the memorandum of the call between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine, I have consistently said that Mr. Trump's request for an investigation of Joe Biden and any effort to tie the release of military aid to investigations were improper and should not have happened. However, I do not believe these actions rise to the level where it would be necessary to remove a president from office.
What? What Trump did was bad, but not bad enough?
It wasn't one call. It was turning Ukraine and its vital security to extort them to do a political favor for Trump. It was the worst. What would be worse? I don't understand why you don't think that's bad enough.
You know what, Senator Portman, what you do, and you do it all the time, is just support Trump, and you're complicit in this wholesale destruction of our democracy. You know, it's just disingenuous of you.
Yes.
The founders intended for impeachment to be extremely rare, and they required those seeking to remove the president to meet the burden of proving high crimes and misdemeanors like treason or bribery. In this case, unlike in other impeachments, no crime was alleged, although there may be circumstances where a crime isn't necessary for a president to be impeached. To be impeached under such a circumstance would require meeting an even higher bar, and it wasn't met here.
Okay, come on, Senator Portman. You don't have to be a constitutional scholar to know that there wasn't a federal criminal code at the time the Constitution was written. And even if you do think about the founders, they were coming from British law, and they impeach people all the time for abuse of public trust. And I think that is exactly an abuse of power.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Soliciting foreign intervention in a U.S. presidential election does not constitute an impeachable offense to you?
Can you believe it?
Really?
You
That
know,
we have free and fair elections isn't a high enough bar? Really?
and you know, you already just said that it was improper and shouldn't have happened, yet you didn't even vote or bring up the possibility of censoring him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In addition, the House engaged in a rushed process that lacked fundamental fairness.
Ugh.
The White House obstructed the investigation, and the Senate let them.
Rushed?
Wait, it wasn't unfair, you just didn't like the result. That process you claim was rushed could easily have lasted longer had Trump testified himself, he was invited,
Yeah.
or had he not blocked any of his inner circle from
Right.
testifying. You're
Right.
projecting and you know it.
Yes.
It was the Senate that had a rushed process and lacked fundamental fairness.
Yeah, and we all saw it.
No witnesses, no documents. Not a fair trial, not a trial at all. That's what you voted for, and it didn't matter to you that an overwhelming majority of your constituents wanted witnesses and documents.
That's right.
We did.
Well, the constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley calls it, quote, the shortest proceeding with the thinnest evidentiary record and the narrowest grounds ever used to impeach a president, unquote. It was also the only purely partisan impeachment in history.
Boy, you're being really selective in the quotations there, Senator Portman. Turley also said, quote, there is much that is worthy of investigation in the Ukraine scandal, and it is true that impeachment doesn't require a crime, unquote. And nice that you found one constitutional scholar that agrees with you, because every single other one, including the other two that testified in the House, disagree and think this is worthy of impeachment.
Rushing an impeachment case through the House without due process and giving the Senate a half-baked case to finish set a dangerous precedent. If the Senate were to convict, it would risk making this kind of quick partisan impeachment in the House a regular occurrence. That would serve only to further deepen the divides that seem to permeate every part of our society today.
What kind of justification is this? Let's break it down. First, how and why was due process not followed in the House?
Right.
17 public servants did come forward with subpoenas, even in the sight, even with the pressure coming from above them, telling them not to show up, not to honor their subpoenas. We still had people who had the courage to step up. And we could have had a great deal more without the obstruction, and you know that.
Yes.
Right.
And are you saying that people who love their country shouldn't do something to protect our democracy and uphold the rule of law? Because it sets a bad precedent?
Seriously. Yeah.
Unless you don't want to protect the election, because corruption is the only way you can win. Why do you keep voting against election security bills?
People certainly see this divide in Congress. Many believe their elected representatives on both sides of the aisle have lost sight of what's important and are focusing on politics and partisanship rather than results for the American people. While the Senate is where this impeachment process will end, it is also the Senate that is best suited to turn the page and begin a new chapter.
A new chapter.
We can do that by demonstrating that we can work together and address the issues our constituents care most about.
Oh, I'm sure you're really willing and eager to turn the page. You're hoping we're all going to forget what you did in this so-called trial and that you didn't listen to the majority of your constituents at all.
You're not listening to 75% of your constituents.
Us.
75% of your constituents. You won't have town halls. You won't meet with us face to face. How do you expect to know what we actually want if you're not listening to us?
Yeah, a new chapter indeed. We can see that the new chapter that is getting ushered in with this kind of behavior, with this kind of whitewash, with this kind of obstruction, the new chapter that we're looking at is American autocracy, and we don't like that.
No, we do
No.
not.
Right.
I'm out of here, Toledo.